the information we'll be talking about here is in the guidelines that we have in our website. But most importantly, here will be like hear from you, like if you have any questions related to the challenge, or better discuss with you what you think about the challenge. To give you a brief overview about the NiD4OCEAN, so it's our Horizon Europe project. We are 13 partners with a wide range of institutions, which includes academics, research institutions, NGOs, industry, and so on, from 8 different countries. And the idea for the project is to advance these emerging fields of nature-inclusive design. So we go from compiling existing information about the needs nature-inclusive design, which is out there, to build up and co-create, contest dependent solutions to new ecoregions in Europe, using, of course, new technologies. So for the project itself, we are focused on 3 different ecoregions in Europe: the Baltic Sea, the Mediterranean, and the North Sea, which is subdivided for purpose of the project in Southern North Sea and Northern North Sea. As you can see in the illustration in the right, we have several case studies. Some are dealing with bottle-fixed wind turbines, others with floating wind turbines, and also including floating solar. In the context of this challenge, and we are considering not just nature-inclusive design, but we are also encompassing mitigation measures. That's why we are using, as you can see in the guidelines, this kind of umbrella definition of nature-inclusive concepts. They are basically ideas or approaches targeting innovative concepts to reduce the impact of infrastructure while promoting ecosystem functioning or protection. So it includes both nature-inclusive design and also mitigation measures. But for a better definition and the reference you're using, I suggest you to check the guidelines. And as most of you are aware, if not all of you are aware, most of the knowledge that we have so far is coming from the Southern North Sea and the bottle-fixed structures, but we still have limited knowledge and options for floating offshore wind. Here in the left is a toolbox from our partners, where we have a compilation of all of those concepts that we have out there, and it will be expanded through our project as well. Here is just some of the examples, and ideally to illustrate this potential difference between the bottle-fixed and floating infrastructure, and what can kind of bring in terms of technical difference between both. So we have like 2 different types. Two of the most common floating offshore wind infrastructure, the semi-submersive and the spare buoy turbines. And we highlight here some of the parts of this infrastructure that could be explored when it comes to nature-inclusive design or nature-inclusive concepts in general. So we highlight here, for example, in the left, in the same submersive infrastructure, the underwater turbine substructure in general, so this concrete parts or steel parts, the underwater cable membrane material that could also be changed, not just in terms of design, but also in terms of the material itself, the spare buoy material, the mooring lines, and so on. Perhaps Antonius also would like to bring the questions related to anchors here.
I just wanted to mention here that one of the topics that we have seen as being quite relevant, especially when it comes to impacts of floating infrastructure, and since our innovation challenge covers both mitigation and enhancement, one of the mitigation measures that we would like to explore, if one of you has a good idea for that, of course, in this project, would be, of course, limiting the impact of drag anchors on the seabed. This can extend for quite some distance and disturb the seabed and all habitat there, but also So that's one topic that we would like to highlight as being quite important. That doesn't mean that we want to steer you in any specific direction, but just to give you a bit of an understanding of what topics we are focusing on in the rest of the project.
We seek innovative ideas or nature-inclusive concepts that are already in developing from TRL 1 to 3, tailored to floating offshore wind infrastructure, which is actually what we are missing now. So it goes, the ideas can explore mitigation of negative effects of the infrastructure and or restoration or enhancement of specific organisms habitats, which means nature inclusive design concepts. So apart from what we seek in terms of in what we target, we also ask you this commitment to develop your ideas and progress with ideas up to TRL3. So work in your concepts with support from NiD4OCEAN to develop up to TRL3. And what we support and what will be reart for the proposals and the winning proposals. So for all proposals submitted, for all proposed concepts in the first stage, we have a feedback from this multidisciplinary expert panel, which involves all partners in NiD4OCEAN. As you could see in the first illustration, involves several expertise. So this support goes from the technical design, but also to the business case and etc. So all proposals submitted for the first stage will get this feedback from us. For the winning proposal, the idea that reached TRL3 will be with support from us advanced up to TRL4. And the definition of TRL4 is following what's stated in the European Commission guidelines, which is a technological validated in-lab. And for not just for the winning proposal, but also for the top ranked ones that goes through the second phase, they will be invited to showcase their concepts in the Wind Europe event that I'm sure that most of you know as a very important event in the field of wind energy, with support of our partners from RGI in Madrid. So just a summary of the scope and what we are expecting. The concepts they have to develop under this, not just under the a technical context, but also the ecological context has to be taken into consideration, especially for the European base I mentioned before, North Sea, Mediterranean, and Baltic. Not necessarily the concepts need to involve all the three different bays or be applicable for the three different bays, but they should explore at least one of the areas. So sound ecological, to put them in a sound ecological context. So as said, not just is structurally sound, but also is scalable and has to count into the cost effective of uh, the cost effective has to be taken into account. And again, the concept has to be implemented and tailored to floating wind farms or related infrastructure that includes also the connection grid, subsea platforms, but not just those. The evaluation criteria is divided in five actually different main criteria that goes from the scientific relevance and impact, the structure, integrity, and durability of the concept, the feasibility of deployment and maintenance and scalability, the cost effects and economic viability, including, of course, the sustainability aspects, and the spec benefit for the winning concepts. So all these five criteria are divided in sub-criteria that goes from 4 to 2 sub-criteria, and they have their own score, which of course ends up in 100% score. And then each sub-criteria, we use like a separate score from 1 to 5. So the idea here, of course, you have like in the guidelines all details, but the idea here is just to illustrate that all criteria, they just don't go through the technical part, the engineering side, but the ecological side is also relevant, and also the benefits and cost effectiveness of the proposal and concept is also taken into consideration. For the winning concept that is escalated up to TRL3, we work together with Deltares, which is, as you probably know, is a renowned research and technical facilities in the Netherlands. Antonius is here represent them. They have several research facilities that could be used to test those nature-inclusive concepts. Of course, that will depend on the type of concepts and the timeline as well. So it goes from water soil flumes that can deal with several questions related to the anchoring and the geotechnical aspects of the concepts, but also the delta flumes here as well. So, I mean, in the left, we can see some examples of nature-inclusive design being tested in their facility, targeting fixed turbines. In the middle, some anchoring systems, and in the flume in the right. But this can we can come back to this facilities if you have specific questions at the end of the webinar. And Antonius is here to answer your questions. The application process, as said, is started with this stage 1 proposal, which is a more simple document that I will show it later. It goes through this feedback from the expert panel. So the selected proposals will go for the second stage, and then we have in the selection of the winning proposals. This is kind of a simplified timeline. But if you go through the milestones, you have the deadline for submission of the stage 1 in September 1st. We have the feedback from our expert panel from September 5th to 26th. Then we have the deadline for submission of the stage 2 proposals in November 2nd. We have the selection process complete by the December. But most important part here is that the select concepts, we have to work in their concepts with support from our team, from the feedback sessions, from spring to autumn until they are tested. So this is very important to highlight that after the concepts are selected, the innovators or the ones submitting the concepts, they have to work into the concepts up to advance into to TRL4, and then being prepared, these concepts to be tested in the Deltares facility. Here is just a short video showing you like where you can find more information about this and where the documents are located in our website. It's very simple. It's also in our LinkedIn page, but here in the website, you can just go to the application process, and then all this information that I'm saying here is also available in the website, along with the information about the project itself. So there in the application process, you can see the main document, which is the guidelines for applicants, and the application for stage 1, which is this simplified application here, which includes the proposal name of your concept, some details of the ones who are applying for the challenge, a brief concept description, ecological relevance and impact, novelty and TRL level that your concept is in this and the moment you submit the proposal. We'll be happy to hear a bit like about the deployment and management ideas that we have, and then that you expect it to be applied to your concept, and the testing and scalability of it. More detailed description is there in the box, but you can see that from the maximum word length, that it's quite a short required application for the stage 1. So we ask you to be quite concise and precise on when describing this your concept, at least for the stage 1. And then it's important that you have tick this box at the end, just to make sure they really understand the guidelines that I just mentioned. Here are some of the questions. There's some of you actually have asked us, and then we include it here. And then the idea is here is that after the session, we are also including all the questions in our website. So some people have asked if their concepts have been part of other challenges could be also submitted here, and the answer is yes. If they are up to TRL3, they can also be submitted to our challenge. Um, the same company, the same innovator can also submit more than one proposal, more than one idea. There is no like restrictions from the size of the company itself, and all submissions will definitely remain confidential between the selection committee and the one who is applying uh, to the challenge.